What is a crazy medical fact that most people don't know about? I can't declare a hypothermic person deceased until we warm them to room temperature. When you get a kidney transplant, they don't take out your original kidneys. So you have 3 kidneys after a transplant. Also, they transplant the new kidney into your abdomen and it sits on top of your pelvis, hip area. If you get multiple transplants, they just keep adding new kidneys in. I've known of patients who've had 6 kidneys. I learned a lot about this during my kidney transplant 6 years ago. It's impressively hard to close someone's eyes after they die. Not like on TV. You press them down, and then they open back up a little. Then you have to press them closed again and press a little harder. I know. I was bedside when my dad passed away. If he was still in the room, I bet he had a good chuckle. Miss him. If a man has fallen and gets a boner, do not move him, it's a sign of spinal injury. I had a total thyroidectomy last year due to thyroid cancer. I learned that, in rare cases, your body can regrow thyroid tissue. Maybe healthy, functioning, maybe not, from the very small number of thyroid cells left behind. Is the reason thyroid cancer patients need to be on a high dose of replacement hormone to suppress the production of thyroid-stimulating hormone that could trigger regrowth. It was wild to learn that removing the gland doesn't always solve the issue. A defibrillator actually stops your heart. It's up to your body to restart things correctly. The equivalent of the IT guy asking if you've tried turning it off and on again. Pneumothorax, collapsed lung, can just happen. If you sneeze or cough or just breathe wrong, your lung can and collapse. Situs inversus, a congenital condition in which the major visceral organs are reversed or mirrored from their normal positions, which I only learned about when reading about Catherine O'Hara. Home Alone. Schitt's Creek. Apparently her organs, like heart, lungs etc., are flipped to the opposite sides of her body. Your immune system can just decide to attack whatever. It can decide that your hair follicles are a deadly threat and make you bald. It can go after your spinal cord and make it so your legs feel like they're on fire 24/7. It can attack your organs and cause damage severe enough to necessitate a transplant. It can eat holes in your brain. It can tear up your joints. You can even wake up blind because your eyes were on your immune system's hitlst for today. I think people are aware of autoimmune conditions, but I think most people don't think about how much can go wrong. Things I learned from my doctors and my own reading after I found out I was having twins. 1. At age 35, a woman's odds of having a multiples pregnancy drastically increases, and it continues to increase each year. This is due to your body's response to preparing for menopause by releasing more than 1 egg at a time. The older you are when you get pregnant, pre-menopause, the more likely you could have a multiples pregnancy. 2. You are likely to be the most fertile right before you begin menopause. Ever hear of a change of life baby? 3. If you already have had a multiples pregnancy, your odds of another one greatly increases. 4. People frequently ask, do twins run in your family? Fraternal twins, 2 fertilized eggs, are the only genetic twins. Women get the gene to release more than 1 egg through their mother and her mother. And her mother. Identical twins. 1 egg that splits is random nature and can happen at any time. 5. African American women are the most likely to have twins over any other race. Caucasian women over 35 have the highest rates of triplet or more pregnancies in the USA. 6. If you have a higher BMI, 30 plus, you're more likely to have a multiples pregnancy. The mold, from which the first antibiotics were harvested, were first discovered from a young French med. Student Ernest Duchesne, noticing that Arab stable boys would keep horse saddles in damp, dark places to encourage mold growth. This reduced the amount and severity of saddle sores. Wrote a paper on it but didn't receive credit. Several decades later, and Fleming makes penicillin. Your stomach gets a new lining every few days to prevent it from digesting itself. A lot of bone breaks don't hurt that much. I work in radiology, and while we don't see the nasty breaks you do in trauma, which often really hurt, we see a lot of broken toes, fingers, metacarpals and metatarsals. Those breaks are often not easy to distinguish from muscle or tendon strain without imaging, and the patient is acting completely normal. I used to think breaking anything would have someone on the floor in agony, but a lot of them are like, yeah, it hurts when I bend it. If you want nightmare fuel, sometimes your spine can spontaneously break under its own weight. This is called a compression fracture. Maybe not that commonly unknown, but in movies and TV medical emergencies, you always hear the doctor or medics yell, "He's flatlining. Get the paddles," and then proceed to shock the patient. You actually do not shock flatline. You shock fibrillations. Heart is beating, but not pumping blood because it's a chaotic rhythm. You actually shock the heart to flatline. It's the human equivalent of turning you off and back on again. This is a very simplified description, but you probably don't want the crazy explanation with all the exceptions to the rules and such. Humans can live with one lung. The remaining one will expand and partially fill the rest of the chest cavity, which can lead to cardiac distress. It's not the most pleasant existence, but people have made it up to 30 years like that.